Live from the isolation of the United Nations, it's your very own internet darling, Amber Grimmy. I would have inserted applause here, but honestly, I am just too damn lazy to give a shit. It's not that I'm humble anymore, just that I conserve my energy to fuck evil's day up. Did you know that it's far more likely that the United Nations is our enemy instead of Hollywood, like many would have you believe? Well, let's see something. Hollywood does make movies with good lessons and moral values. The United Nations watches as children are bought and sold. With all the protests around the world, you might think that children being abused would be worthy of a march or two. Of course, these kinds of causes do a little something the United Nations fails to do. They unite us. If you knew thousands, hundreds of thousands, potentially even millions of children were being bought, sold, used, abused, and, well, what do you think eventually happens when they're all used up? Oh, that's a conspiracy theory. Well, no, human trafficking is real, not a QAnon or Trump fantasy. In fact, Trump and QAnon were used to make these very meaningful causes look like totally lame. You know, Freemasons like to keep secrets. The Bohemian Grove and its surrounding town, not to mention all of its elite clientele, like to keep their secrets. And wouldn't you know it, the United States government, United Nations, and most world governments are keeping some form of secret. You know, like the Vatican having a secret library of religious material that could potentially alter mankind's perception of reality. We have so many reports of things in the sky that are so advanced, one might go, that's either a guardian of the galaxy or someone from Wakanda. But seriously, no, it's either alien, time travelers, or freaking hidden advanced society shit. So, when the government refuses to sit us all down and have a little chat, well, fuck you, right? I mean, this is the shit that causes mental illness. You cannot trust those who rule over you. Like, that's a massive problem. And as I pointed out during the pandemic, if you need people to trust you enough to take a quickly produced vaccine, you better start fucking coming clean about all the dirty shit we've been wondering about. Oh wait, that never happened. Instead, they kept doubling down on misinformation and dividing the nation through manifestation of hate, rage, and irrational anger. We should be angry, but not at our neighbor, not at Hollywood, but at those who are in power of the planet and our lives. They want you to hate someone based on their beliefs. They want you to think hate is their belief of choice, or that they're some sickos, when the fact is, they're people just like you, who are afraid, confused, and being led astray. No, not their lifestyle choices or even beliefs. You will find that everyone, deep down, is really the same. They just want to express themselves differently. In the fear that we would lose our freedom of expression, or after having lost it, or being abused for it, well, it's easy to motivate people to fight for that freedom, when it's something we never should have had to fight for. It was promised to us. The leaders are pitting us against each other with our own promised freedoms. This is not a dog-eat-dog world. They lie to you, deceive you, manipulate, and use you. They never want you to see that the only evil, the only darkness, sin, or crime is theirs. No wrong in our world could exist if those in power did their jobs. And Instead, they point the finger at us and act like children, just like those in abusive relationships do. They want us to think they're stupid, that someone else is stopping them, that they're just making mistake after mistake, or worse, that we're to blame. Yeah, all the shit that happens in a toxic relationship. I think you know what that means. It's time to cut the cord. No matter who they are, no matter which side you think they're on, the only side is us versus them. The powerless versus the powerful. They have such great responsibility on each side. While you could try to argue that a Star Trek level future might be so far away, the diplomacy, understanding, and just basic humanity shown in that program is exactly how the United Nations and our Congress, our world governments should function. You don't have to be a Trekkie to believe that, because it's about two groups who have differing opinions, utilizing conversation, discussion, and understanding, being able to express themselves freely, even through anger, even through passion, but with the understanding that instead of rash assumptions being made, people will be heard and seen. And then, after being heard and seen, people can wade through the noise and somehow find a way to not just compromise, but come up with a solution that benefits both sides, so that instead of finding a simple compromise that some may find issue with, that you actually develop a solution that's better than either side originally asked for. You know, you might think that's not possible, or you may feel that's too idealistic. But what kind of ideals are we manifesting into our world? With great power comes great responsibility. If we're not focusing on bringing people together, if we're not focusing on creating a better world for everyone, then everything will always eventually fall the fuck apart. A dictator, if they don't want to sleep with both eyes open, will realize the easiest way to maintain your power isn't to pit people against each other, to utilize secrets to create mental illness. No. It's simply giving the people what they want, what they need, and finding ways in which to do that that actually benefits us all. You have all of these smart, intelligent people, supposedly, and yet they've never been utilized for this very noble purpose. I mean, we can figure out ways to blow the shit out of each other better, how to kill each other more efficiently, how to grow hair back. There's a lot of shit we can do these days. But just like Idiocracy, a film from a ways back, pointed out, we're not doing anything to make the world better for ourselves or our children. And while that phrase, children are our future, seems a little, whatever you might think it seems like, you know, it rubs people a certain way whenever they hear it. But the simple fact is that if we're not building a foundation for ourselves and then allowing the next generation to build their own foundation, well, then we're just all foundationless. And yet, that's exactly what those in power have left us with. No foundations at all. They want us to think that we're criminals, that we're bastards. But the fact is, most crime, most mental illness, all stems from the fact that this world is designed to beat you the fuck down, watch as you're just about to get up, and then kick you in the face again and go, ooh, sorry about that. Here's a hand, let me help you back up. And then, of course, they just stab you repeatedly. I mean, that's the world that we live in, because no matter how you look at it, no matter how successful you think someone is, most of us are unfucking happy. And it's because deep down we know that something's wrong. We all No matter how big our family is or how big our group is, we still feel alone, like we haven't found something we're missing desperately. If we all feel that way, maybe we should all sit down and talk about it, because it might be important, you know? When the placebo effect can cure cancer and all sorts of shit like that, and can do all sorts of other things, one might think it's worth massive investigation. But of course, why would the pharmaceutical company want to investigate something that essentially means that you can heal yourself through positive thinking? Oh my god, does that sound so cringy, so stupid, so absolutely ugh. But, well, I did just that, you know. I nearly died. My diabetes was always under control, but then nothing I could do worked, and wouldn't you know it, it was all after I started opposing this evil online and making these kinds of videos. It's almost as if something wanted me the fuck dead. Well, they failed, because just like Doctor Strange, while I thought some of these things were strange in the beginning... Oh, that was a bad pun. But in any case, while these things throughout my life were never something that I paid much attention to, at some point I started paying a lot of attention to them and putting a lot of belief in them. But the more and more things became real, I just couldn't really grasp or see it until now. Until very recently, just over the last, I would say, probably month to 2 months, I've really come to terms with all this, but especially, I would say, over the last 2 to 3 weeks. Maybe even week and a half. Why is that important? Don't really know. Just like being a little specific, because it feels important for myself to kind of document that fact that, yeah, it's all come to fruition. Like, I've never felt better. I've never been more in control. Things have just never seemed better from a personal, emotional standpoint. The only thing that keeps pissing me off is I just can't, you know, kick the final ass of the final boss and just end all this shit immediately. I mean, somebody might say it takes patience, but fuck patience. Patience has waited long enough. There are children suffering, we're all suffering. This just has to fucking end. And I know that my shit's isolated. I know that I've only really truly interacted with agents, and that it's very difficult to figure out exactly where I should go and who I should share this with. But, you know, the other thing to do is to just keep believing that whatever you're doing is part of the process, because who knows? At some point, everything just might magically fall the fuck into place. And more likely than not, that's exactly what's gonna fucking happen.